guys, and welcome back to Redpill Conversations. My name is Tracey and your host kama kawaida. This is episode 5. We've done 4 episodes so far, so if you've not watched, kindly click on this link up here. Watch episode 1, 2, 3, 4, because there's a lot we have shared on about finances. We are not about to stop talking about finances because the topic is wide. It is very vast. I believe there's a lot to talk about finances and educate you and ourselves, because we also research in the process. So it's a learning process for all of us. So if you feel like this episode, not if you feel like, I know this episode is very educative, so please share in all those WhatsApp groups that you belong. Ati yo Rorashio. Share it. Waambie wa budget nini rorashio yao. Teach them how to budget on these things. But anyway, share this video, share, subscribe, like, because I know you like the video, so please like, comment, leave a comment and tell us what you've learned. It will help us go a long way. So we're not going to talk about anything else until we exhaust the topic on finances. All right? Haya. Silas, wagwan, naona leo to represent vizuri sana. T-shirt imeandikwa money.
Niko representing.
We're talking about money. T-shirt yako imechora madola.
Well, and it's not by design.
It's not.
I just happened to see.
It's just a coincidence.
Yes, it's just a coincidence.
It's just a coincidence.
Nili anipige picha kasi. Kifanya sioni.
So hata leo ulitoa tu kwa closet uko
Yes.
This is the one I'm wearing today.
Yeah.
Have you been?
I've been good.
Uh-huh.
I'm enjoying the episodes.
You are?
I'm enjoying the studies. Did some bit of accounting, but the knowledge I've gotten so far, especially from our Kenyan authors,
Yes.
is unmatched. Schools don't teach you these
They
things.
don't. They
don't.
really
By the way, I'm surprised that I am learning more about money, more about personal finances and how to manage money than I did in school.
Yeah.
So our schools, I've only seen that our schools they teach you how to be a good employee.
You like saying
yes,
that.
Yes. But I'm learning a lot.
You're learning a lot.
Yes.
Mimi pia nina learn sana about my finances, and I'm getting so much feedback from people that they're really getting challenged about our episodes to be better with their finances. And that's why we are here. That's why
Redpill is awareness.
Yes, it is an awareness. It's not a we are not blue pill.
Yeah.
It is red pill. So we are thankful, and you're welcome for giving you this information for free. Today we are going to talk about inflation, understanding inflation. I know we've had that name, that word, terminologies. This is what it means. This is kwa news, business class. If you did business in high school, I don't know, maybe you use it and you don't know what it means, or you do know what it means. But now our target is we educate you more. We are here to discuss an issue and hopefully give solutions, because tutakuwa tunafanya bure kama hatuwapati solutions. So we're going to talk about inflation. Na kama kawaida, we're not going to start this episode without reading a Bible verse. So take your Bibles out. Our word today comes from Matthew 6. So nifungue Biblia. Sikuwa nimefungua. Matthew 6:19.
Yeah, to 21.
Matthew 6:19 to 21. It says, "Do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy and where thieves break in and steal, but lay up yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will also be." I know we are a podcast that talks about money, but that is not what we are preaching. Taking care of your finances, but we're not preaching storing up your riches. Yeah, we are Christians, we're believers. I believe you are a believer and a Christian. So tunasema usifocus na mambo ya dunia sana, especially when it comes to treasures. No. So
yeah, I think the verse should teaches us to focus more. Our spirituality, our relationship with God is far more important than all these things we are saying. That it would not profit us anything if we talked about money, had a lot of it, and had everything that money could buy at the expense of our souls. So even though we are teaching guys on money, we are not teaching you how to worship money.
No.
we are teaching you how to be prudent with money, but taking focus or putting your focusing on your relationship with God, because that far outweighs any benefit you may get from money. So even as you listen to us, it is important to know that even though we are educating you on this topic, your greatest focus should be your relationship with God. Yeah.
Perfect. So
Yes.
umesikiliza? Good. Now, let's talk about inflation.
Yes.
Tunajua kwenye tuko kama wa Kenya, and I think we are going to learn a lot about this topic of inflation. But I think first things first, tell us, what is inflation?
Actually, to make it even simple, before starting with inflation,
Okay.
the term that is mostly used by people, some may understand its meaning, others may not, is the high cost of living. The high cost of living. When you listen to guys talking about our economic status, the status of the country, you'll hear this phrase, high cost of living.
A lot.
And so we are going to talk about one of the reasons why the cost of living is the way it is.
Yeah.
And come up with solutions on how to take care of it. So inflation is the general increase in prices of commodities. And just to put it in simple terms, is the weakening of the money that you have. Just to put it in layman's terms, is the weakening of the money you have. And that weakening is caused by a general increase in price of commodities. For example, if bread costs 50 shillings today, the price of bread is 50 shillings. After 2 weeks or after a month, the same bread costs 60 shillings. It has increased, the price of that bread has increased by 10%, by 10 shillings, sorry. So if it has increased by 10 shillings, it means that your 50 shillings is now weaker.
Yeah.
Because it cannot get you the same bread that you would have gotten at 50 bob. Now you need 60. You need 10 extra shillings. So that means that shilling, the value of that shilling has gone down. So in simple terms, inflation is a general increase in the prices of commodities over time.
Okay.
Leading to a weakening in the currency or in the value of the money that you hold currently.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Kama uko na swali, enda kwa comment section. Utauliza, Silas atajibu. Aya, I know we have different types of inflation, and I think we're going to discuss them one by one. Nakumbuka tukipitia hizi vitu nilikuwa na feel nostalgia because business class kidogo I think form 3 form 2, was it form 2 or form 3? Ilikuwa tu inarudi. What was the name of my business teacher? Mr. Waihiga, I think. Okay, I don't know.
Mr. Waihiga alisema hautaenda mbali. Uliza Mr. Waihiga, hapa ni wapi?
Hapa ni wapi? Sasa ni mimi ninakufunza. Lol. No, I'm teaching people. We are learning together.
Yes.
Aya. Types of inflation. We have the demand pull, cost push, and hyperinflation. Let's start with demand pull.
So demand pull, from the word demand, from just demand, is the increase in the demand for commodities. When the demand of commodities increases, which leads to a subsequent increase in the price of that commodity.
Okay.
If the demand for something is greater than the supply, then that means that there is increase in demand. Demand pull inflation is not it's not bad type of inflation.
Okay.
Because it assumes that people have money in the pocket. Let me give you a good example. When guys are during December holidays,
Yes.
there is usually an increase in demand for food
Hey sana.
and traveling.
Yes.
Like guys travel, especially guys like me from Western Kenya.
Western.
Tunabebanga viti, mitungi. Do you see those buses?
I will see them. Tunaonanga
Matunda
pale.
bus.
Guy. Mnajazanga hizo vitu.
Zimewekwa mitungi, beds. So there is an increase in the demand to travel.
Yeah.
Or the need to travel. Not demand to travel. It means many people want to travel.
Yes.
And so, since many people want to travel, and the amount of or the means to travel is limited,
Yes.
then the prices of fare go up.
Very much.
Like right now, going to Western Kenya is around 1,000 bob max.
Right now.
Right now, I think
I
schools
think
are
it's not
opening.
peaks. Oh, right now that schools are
Yeah,
opening.
it could be 1,500. But when there is no school,
Some March, EV.
yes, it's around 1,000 bob.
Ah,
But in December, it's 2,500.
that's more than
Yes,
double.
more than double for the same distance. So that is demand pull inflation. It's caused by the increase in demand.
Okay.
It is a good form of inflation because that means that people have money.
And you're willing to pay.
And they are willing to pay. Like there is the purchasing power is there. So it leads to increase in prices. So guys complain during December, but they expect it. You've never seen anyone on the streets
No.
because prices have gone up. Prices of fare have gone up during that time in December. Even when schools are opening.
Yes.
You don't see riots.
No, we
You
don't.
don't see people complain. It's a demand pull inflation. Guys are supposed to plan for that. Everyone who is planning for traveling in December, they know that prices of hotel rooms and hotels are right now. Do you know if you go to Coast, they wanakubembeleza? But book 2 nights, you get 3 or 4 3 nights free. You know they do that.
Yeah.
Because right now, guys have traveled and they have come back home. Now there is not a lot of demand for hotels. Right now, go to resorts. It's the best time to travel, by the way. I checked the other day. Trip to Dubai. Bonfire Adventures. I wanted to check with. I checked how much it costs right now to travel to Dubai using Bonfire Adventures. It's 59 Gs.
59,000 Kenyan shillings.
Yes, for three nights.
Wacha.
Yes, it is. It's cheap.
January.
Yes.
59,000.
They have a January package.
They have a January package.
Yes.
Because of how dry it is.
Yes. Check for December. It would have been probably double.
Double.
Yes. So that is demand pull inflation caused by increase in demand. Is a good type of inflation.
Okay.
It's a good type of inflation. Yeah.
Okay. Cost push.
Cost push inflation, on the other hand, is inflation that is caused by increase in the cost of production of anything. Let's say, for example, I had a pen here. Yes, this pen. There are costs before you get this pen as the end user or the consumer. There's a lot of costs that goes into putting this pen together.
True.
There is the plastic, there are the workers, there is fuel to run the machines in the factory, there is electricity. So there is a lot of costs that are attached to this particular pen. When those costs go up for various reasons, which we'll discuss as we continue in this podcast, it leads to a subsequent or a consequent increase in prices. For example, if fuel, let's say, was 200, just a wild example, to produce pens, it was 200. If it rises to 250 shillings, the price of the workers, the wages, let's say we were paying them 500, they need to be paid 650. That means that we are going to incur a lot of cost at the production level.
Yeah.
So that means that the end user, yourself, if you bought this pen at 100 bob, it means that by the time they are done with the production, you will be asked to pay 150 shillings. So it is increase in prices. Your 100 shilling is as though it has become weaker due to the cost of production. The increase in the price of fuel and all those things that affect. And it's what is affecting our country.
It is. Because I was about to... I remember when the cost of manure was very high, the farmers were complaining...
Fertilizer.
Oh, fertilizer.
Is there a difference, by the way?
I think manure ni natural yenye inatoka kwa its waste.
Okay, from
someone
animals.
Correct us. Yes, I think manure is the waste from
The fertilizer is the one that is
yes, hizo akina hizo phosphorus something.
Sorry.
It's okay. So walikuwa nasema fertilizer imepanda, so sijui bei ya mahindi imepanda. So yeah, okay, I see it now. It now. These things I've really never thought about it.
Yes, so ikipanda at the farming level, if the cost of producing, if the cost of fertilizer goes up, and the farmer is supposed to plant, if they're planting maize, that means they will income more to plant that maize, to plant it to the point of where it is consumer ready.
Yes.
So that means that the cost of maize after that will go up.
Yeah.
It will go significantly high.
Subsequently,
that is why
unga ugali.
That is why, yes, unga ugali. But for me, if guys listen to me, I'll tell them unga
ugali is not necessary.
It's not necessary. It is just sugar, too much sugar. It is causing people to be
too much carbs.
It's too much carbohydrates. It is causing people to be obese. It's causing diabetes. All those things.
Skizeni Silas. He preaches about this a lot.
Mimi nikisema unga ugali kiendelea kupanda na sukari. Those are things that are killing you.
You don't feel it.
No. I don't think we need them. We don't.
Unasema hata ipande zaidi. Ndio watu waachane nayo.
We don't need it as such, but I'm saying that and I grew up eating ugali. My mom used to cook.
You are from Western. That is like a staple
surrounding. There was a story in high school ya tulikuwa tunasoma sijui kwa hizi vitabu za mafasi andishi.
Fasi simulizi.
My mom used to cook.
Ile yenye uwezi ona that person.
Mmeizunguka.
No, seriously.
Tulikuwa tunaishambulia.
You serious? Ile wenye
yes, we were 7 siblings. 8 of us in the house. We were 10 of us in the house.
Plus mom and dad.
Yes, so there is this thing at ya kukata ugali
unakia kila mtu kwa sahani yake.
It's very foreign. It's a central thing. Western people know how to eat ugali properly.
Ni ile imekwa katikati.
Mnaizunguka kila mtu anatoa jasho.
The war is yours. Ni wewe bidii yako.
You are eating and it is the faster you can eat, the more satisfied you will feel. So mnalima.
Hapana.
Mnakuja kukutania katikati and then kuna ile ya mwisho yenye wase uangaliana uone
nani anachukua kwanza. Kuna I think mtu akaangalia familia yenu, kuna ule mwenye alikuwa amejaza kimo, kuna mwenye
jua kukula sana.
Huyo ndo alikuwa anakula mbio.
Yeah.
I think the next type of inflation is hyperinflation.
Yeah, hyperinflation is where it is inflation on steroids.
What?
Inflation on drugs.
Inashinda tu ikipanda.
Yes. In inflation super normal.
Abnormal.
Hyper, yeah, it's abnormal. You cannot explain. In the 2000s in Zimbabwe.
It's giving Zimbabwe.
Have you go and read about Zimbabwe in the 2000s? There was this is hyperinflation is where inflation is so bad that prices of commodities would even double daily, rendering your currency very weak, extremely weak.
Wow.
You saw, ulikuwa unaniambia that you saw
I saw
a 1 million
note.
Yes.
Note ya 1 million. I was complaining that our neighbors in Tanzania have a 10,000 note.
Yeah.
Zimbabwe had 1 million.
That their currency was so devalued, prices of commodities would double even overnight. Today, imagine you find the price of fuel is around 200 bob. And then tomorrow you find it at 400. The next day you find it at 800. So it renders your money useless.
Very useless.
You find guys carrying money in wheelbarrows to go and buy bread.
Mamilioni
na 10 million.
Atumaenda kununua mkate.
In Zimbabwe, we had very poor millionaires. Millionaires who are poor. You imagine if you're buying things in the tune of millions, consumer products in the tune of millions. That means that you don't have a currency.
You don't.
It's nothing. So that is.
I hope their currency is better.
And you know that was caused by printing a lot of money to take care of their debt. I have seen people asking, "By Kenya, we have a lot of debt.
See to print dough."
That is not.
Try
do that. You will see fire.
Tutatokomea. Utakuwa unaenda na gunia malori ya mapesa.
You can't print money. to take care of your debts.
Oh God.
Economic effects.
It
It
has
has
its own
very negative effects on the economy and on the currency itself when money is in excess. So that is what Zimbabwe did. There's another genius from Uganda.
Genius.
Was called Idi Amin Dada.
What did he do?
Idi Amin Dada. They also were in debt. I think Uganda was in debt at some point. So Dada decided, let me print more money. And he went on a printing spree. Printed a lot of money.
Yeah.
And Ugandan currency took a nosedive. Yes. So when there is excess, when there is excess amount of money in the economy, it's very bad for the economy. It's not good. Yes.
Okay.
So we can't print more money to
It's
handle
not
our
a,
debt.
that's not a solution.
Every country would have done that.
True.
Yeah, every country would have done that.
True.
I think the only guys who can print, but they also would be affected is the US dollar. They can also print, but it still causes a negative effect on that currency. Because when it is rare, when it is not too much in circulation, its value goes up. Law of supply and demand. Increase in supply reduces demand. If something is reducing in demand, it means its value has gone down.
Yeah, true.
Yes. True. So that is hyperinflation.
Hyperinflation.
African
Have
leaders
we been
wasifanya
through
kitu
that?
kama hiyo, yeah?
Has Kenya been through hyperinflation? Is there at any one point?
No.
Okay.
I have not read anywhere where we have ever.
Printed
It is
money.
very serious. No, getting out of hyperinflation. I don't think you can get out easily. I don't think Zimbabwe has recovered.
But they're not using their currency right now.
I don't know. I don't know about them. Maybe they're using a different currency.
I
Dollars,
think I read that.
USD.
Yeah.
Yes,
They're
because
using a dollar. I
their
don't know
currency
which
is
dollar.
nothing.
Yeah.
It's nothing. If you bring me
1 million note.
1 billion Zimbabwe, whatever, if it is
Currency,
shilling,
Zimbabwe
yes,
shilling.
it will mean nothing to the rest of the world. So that's not the solution. Don't print
That's
more money.
not a solution. But I have heard people say that, even on X.
Yes.
I've seen such. I think now we know that we cannot print money to save our country from debt.
Yes.
Okay. Let's go to let's discuss the causes of inflation. And I think just to echo on the Zimbabwean issue.
And this genius,
And
Idi
this
Amin Dada.
genius person from Uganda, Idi Amin. One cause is too much money in circulation.
Yes. Too much money in circulation is not a good
And
thing.
someone will think that that's a good thing because now we have money, we can afford things. Like money is available.
Yeah.
So that's not an issue. Kumbe it's an issue.
You would think that because we are living in, say, I told you, display of opulence. We are living in a society where more means more.
Yeah, more means more actually. Or so we think.
With money, more sometimes is less. More means less. Like I've said, the laws of demand and supply. Anything that increases in demand, even in relationships, if you increase the supply of shore of affection,
Are we using that analogy?
yes, if you increase the show of affection, and that's what you see on Instagram, people think that if only I love this lady more or too much,
Yeah.
she will appreciate me more.
More.
Ask the gentlemen, they will tell you, the more they do,
The less.
the less they anything that you increase supply has a subsequent has a consequent effect on the demand. So printing more money would devalue our currency. It would mean that many people will have money in their pockets. That may look like a good thing.
Yeah.
If many people have money on their pocket, that means that they have increased in their purchasing power.
Yeah.
They have purchasing power. If purchasing power is increased, that means people will go to purchase.
Yeah.
They will go on a purchasing spree. What will that do? If you go to purchase and many people are buying, what will that do to the commodity? It will decrease in supply. Because if the demand, if more people want it, that means demand is high. So if demand is high,
Okay.
supply will definitely be low,
Yeah.
be affected. The prices will go up. Let me give you a good example.
Okay.
When schools are opening, do you see how textbook center makes a lot of money?
Wow,
Do you
lines
see lines
and the
in textbook?
queues nani
Yes.
zote in almost all malls.
Yes.
Hakuna mahali utaenda
Guys
TBC.
go to buy books. They go on a buying spree. What happens? Whatever price textbook center sets, people will buy. Yes.
At whatever by
At
the
whatever price.
at
So
whatever
imagine a scenario, and that is with this bad economy. Imagine a scenario where 90% of the people earning money can be able to purchase those books.
Yeah.
Where everyone, imagine a
can
scenario
afford.
where everyone has the money to buy those books. Everybody.
Supply itakuwa chini.
That
Demand is
means
very
There will come, like, remember Dr. Mwangi telling you how that time sugar was in demand.
You have queues.
You have queues and you can only buy two kgs.
Packets, yeah.
So that is the effect of printing more money. If you print, so that means that your money becomes devalued.
Very weak.
And as the demand for that particular commodity increases, so is the prices going up, and so is the value of your currency. What you would have bought at 1,000, let's say you buy a ream of paper at 1,000, they will set it at 2,000.
And you'll buy.
And people will still buy. So it has an effect on, it causes inflation.
Okay.
Yes.
To say print pesa. Be wise. Not tell the government to print money.
Yeah, they won't. And you see,
And
that's why
can't.
they have not.
Yeah.
Because
They know
that
the
would
effect.
be a serious quick fix.
We think we're in a problem.
Yes,
Once they
let's
print, we are in deeper problem.
Yes. If they print money, they plunge. The right word is plunge.
They plunge our economy.
This country into a catastrophe, economic catastrophe. Zimbabwe is a test. They're saying there are two ways of learning things. One, you can learn through experience, which is very painful at times. It's most likely very painful.
Yeah.
Or you can learn from other people's
person's
experience.
experience.
And that when you read and you study and you see what happens, and then the world would have been full of money.
Hey.
Everyone would. Like right now, have you noticed that we don't have money circulating?
Money is not in circulation now.
It's not very circulating at the way we were used to.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
really
That solves the problem of the value of money.
Wow.
And that's why you can see the dollar values, our shilling is gaining strength against the dollar. Remember, it was at 160.
Hey,
last
2024 was
Yes,
bad.
last year it was at 160.
Hey, unaamka tu asubuhi iko 159.
Yes.
Another day iko 160. Another time imeshuka kidogo iko 145. Like, it was crazy.
Right
Last
now
year
it's
was
at
crazy.
125.
Oh,
Thereabout.
125?
Yes, 125.
Okay.
That means
That's okay.
yes, and it has stayed
okay,
at
but
125 for a while.
Yeah.
It should go back to 100.
It should.
It should go back to 100 because in 2021, I remember, it was at 103.
It should go back
Yes,
there.
it should go back
It
there.
should go back there. Okay. Another cause of inflation.
Another cause of
Wars. Let's talk about wars.
wars.
Wars and pandemics.
Yes, wars and pandemic lead to a subsequent rise in the price of items. Like, for example, like you remember the former president, Uhuru Kenyatta, when he was asked about the high cost of living, he blamed it on the Ukraine-Russia war. To some extent, not to some extent, it has an effect.
On some commodities.
Yes, because there was increase in price of fuel
A lot.
as a result of that.
Yeah.
I think imports such as, there are some imports that were affected. Let me check what imports were affected.
I heard someone talking about oil, cooking oil. I don't know.
Yes,
how true that is.
cooking oil. Cooking oil,
Oh,
yes.
that one is from.
Yes.
Okay.
You remember there was a time when the guys were fighting over the cooking oil
In
supermarkets.
supermarkets.
Yes.
That was a crazy era. That was a crazy period.
Part of it was brought about by the wars in Ukraine, the Ukraine-Russia conflict. Whenever there is conflict, especially with these superpowers, these countries that we call them big brothers.
Yes.
Akina US,
Russia.
Russia. They say that if US sneezes, the whole world catches a cold. It is true. They are who they say they
Fact.
are.
That's true.
They are who they say
That's
they are.
true, yeah.
So in the event such countries, China, we get a lot of things from China.
A lot.
Yeah, we import a lot of things from there. In the event that there is instability or there is war in those countries, we get affected.
A lot.
That's why as Kenyan citizens, we also need to be interested in global politics. Because they affect...
We are affected one way or another.
One way or another, they
are
affect
affected.
us. So, yeah, that is one thing that affects.
Wars and pandemics. During
Remember COVID?
yes.
COVID was bad. COVID was bad. Especially for guys who dealt in imports. The guys who imported things.
People suffered.
Yeah, companies closed down. If you deal in imported goods, you can imagine for a whole year, guys were not able to bring stuff here in Kenya. Guys were not able to bring. That led to loss of jobs. Many companies, many factories laid down people.
Yeah,
they closed down. Traveling was banned. People could not travel. Even if you traveled, you had to be quarantined. There was disruption.
A lot. Wow, COVID was heavy.
It seriously affected people, affected money.
Yeah, the economy.
Yes, it affected the economy completely. Even the productivity of people. Guys were just at home, hoping and waiting
that things are going to get better.
It affected marriages. Guys realized guys were seated in the house and they were... Who is this guy? Who is this guy next to me?
This person.
Unity was brought about by being busy.
Until
that one should go in the books. That one should go to books.
No, do you believe that we talk about COVID and it's almost 5 years ago now? Actually, yes. It's 5 years.
It's 5 years ago. Yeah.
That's half a decade.
Yes, half a decade ago. And it was so
bad. Me never thought we'd ever get out of COVID.
It was so bad. And the good thing that came out of COVID is something like this. Yeah. The birth of YouTube.
Yeah. The birth of podcasts, because we saw a lot of podcasts becoming...
Yes, a lot of information. Yeah. And people assume that this information is out there. But information is not there.
Until you sit down with them and when you start talking about these things, is when you'll realize...
I'm telling you, I went to edit some kidogo accounting. And I was not taught these things. I was only taught looking at profit and loss accounts is millions. The assumption was I'm working in a huge factory that does millions. But schools don't take care of your personal finances.
Who will teach you how to
budget? How to budget.
Imagine
something as simple as how to budget.
No one will teach you that.
Yes. So, yeah.
Okay. Another... what are you talking about? Cost of inflation, demand and supply dynamics.
Demand and supply dynamics, like we have said, the demand for goods will lead to will have a consequence on the price.
Yeah.
Increase in demand increases the price. Yeah. So when the price increases, when the demand increases, and the supply does not increase to meet this demand. You know, there are times where demand can increase of a commodity, and then we are able to supply. We are able to supply. Then that does not affect significantly the price.
Okay.
But if the demand increases, while the supply cannot meet this demand, then prices go up. And we have given that example in when people are opening schools, when guys are buying books, when guys are traveling during peak hours. Let me give you another commodity that inanishangazanga sana. Flowers.
Tunaingia hiyo season by the way.
February 14th.
Yeah. Actually hiyo wiki yote.
That
whole
week,
period.
Yeah, Valentine's. Wherever that holiday came from, I do not know. I do not care.
Whoever invented Valentine's.
Whoever invented it did a good thing. I don't know the significance.
You don't understand.
With buying a flower that will fade tomorrow.
Wewe.
But just buy flowers. buy flowers. But do you know the prices of those flowers skyrocket?
Yeah, right now a bunch is at 20 bob.
Yes, and I was in the events industry. I used to do weddings.
Perfect.
I used to buy those flowers. A bunch
actually a bunch of stem. Kwa nini
Yes.
kamoja hivi ni 20 bob saa hii?
Saa hii actually
Hata
inakuwaga
imepanda.
cheaper.
Eh.
Even 10 shillings. Yeah. Yes.
10 bob. Okay,
Yes,
sisi
it's
watu
10
wa City
shillings.
Market.
So ukienda, a bunch used to cost, a bunch had like 10 or 20 stems. It used to cost 50 bob. Buying it. 50 shillings.
Yes. Wakati wa Valentine's.
Wakati wa Valentine's, mpenzi mtazamaji, hiyo kamoja.
Kuna Kenuthia anakuja anakuambia I want my girlfriend.
Yes.
I want 100 roses.
Let's increase the supply of love and affection. Laws of demand and supply apply everywhere.
At you're increasing the demand of what? Love and affection.
Yes, when you increase that and you think that it will the forces of the forces of demand and supply apply across all fields. There is a guy when we are doing in the 48 laws of power who was asked, why did you come? Why have you not come to see me? So somebody, like I ask you, why have you stayed for long without coming to see me? And then the response, this guy looked at him and he told him, because the question, why have you not come to see me, sounds more interesting to me than why have you come again?
Aha. Okay. Timbono umekuja tena?
Why have you come again?
Mbona umekuja?
So, when you increase the supply of anything,
It's like, yeah.
the demand goes down.
Yeah.
And sometimes subconsciously. We're not even conscious about that.
Oh, yeah.
If air is very important. Oxygen is very important to the life
essential
of a human being. Tell me when last did you sit down like this and appreciated oxygen? And said, I thank God because
for the air that we
for
breathe.
the air that we breathe.
It is for free.
You know, without it, you can't live. You can live without money. Go and live in the jungle. Wow. You can live with snakes and tigers and elephants and monkeys. But you can't live without oxygen. Why do you think the only time people saw the value of oxygen was during COVID? Remember the oxygen tanks that guys were? That then people realized that oxygen is important. Yes, it is in excess supply. It is in unlimited supply. So we as human beings don't tend to appreciate it as much until a time when we need it. So even in your relationships, demand and supply applies. You want to have demand, reduce the supply. Reduce the supply. The supply of texting.
Silas. The supply of texting, flowers, gifts.
Unajua kuna ile
your presents.
There is a song ile hey. Kuna watu wanajidanga hivyo every morning. Hey, hello. Hi.
Tumekuwa horses. Hey.
Anaimba reggae.
Yeah, I know that song. I know it. I am very familiar with it.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, demand and supply. So, yeah.
Okay. We've touched on this, but let's talk about the exchange rate.
Exchange rate. Yes, you see,
it's another cause of inflation.
The strongest, one of the most popular trading currencies is the USD.
It's the US dollar.
It is accepted globally. I think it's accepted across the globe. Yeah, exchange rate. When the Kenya shilling, and we have a case in point just a couple of months ago, when the Kenya shilling weakens in value against the US dollar, because it's the global currency for trading. It's globally accepted and used. When the Kenya shilling weakens, that means that the cost of importation goes high. Let's do it practically.
Yes.
Person X imports the cost of a shilling, Kenya shilling against a dollar was, let's say $1 is equivalent to 100 bob.
Yes.
At that time. And this guy was importing stuff at that particular rate.
Exchange rate,
When it hit 160 like it did a couple of months ago, that means that this guy needs to have 60 shillings extra.
For every 100 bob.
For the same item. You need 60 shillings extra for the same item. That means you need more Kenya shillings to convert to dollars so that you can buy the same quantity that you used to buy. That means your shilling has devalued. Therefore, you can, if you don't have a lot of money, you can only be able to purchase a few items. What will you do as a Christian business person? When you buy, you will increase your prices. So prices of commodities will go up. That means that those guys, I hear we are importing maize.
We import maize?
Yes. I'm telling you.
In Kenya, we are importing. I heard of potatoes, and I wonder, Nyandarua, funny.
Even eggs.
Mayai. See, I thought umseni nini wa mayai. We wacha.
Yes. Yes.
So mayai ikikuwa 17 bob ikifika 18 bob yoni.
We import even apples.
I thought we plant these things.
We do, but politics is...
I heard of sugar. There was a time kulikuwa na hiyo scandal ya sugar. We also import sugar from...
There are people who even frustrate our local farmers so that they can be able to import. And you know, they're getting kickbacks and all those things. Some of them are getting the import licenses. Some of them are becoming monopolies. We have to be very careful about the people we elect as leaders. It is time to stop this nonsense we call tribe. Stop this nonsense called chama. Stop that. It will cost you. Those guys you're putting in authority can impact your lives.
Yeah,
and they are impacting our lives.
Right now, very badly.
Our country is very fertile. You know, 80% of Kenya is fertile.
Yes.
80%. I think it's even more, but 80% of Kenya is fertile. But we cannot grow our own food. Imagine we cannot grow our own food that can feed us. Do you know that Israel is in a desert?
Yeah, and they plant their own food.
Yes. We cannot grow our own food. There is frustrations to the farmers.
Right hand center.
The cost of fertilizer is high, even though it is reducing.
Wanasema.
Yes.
Or so they are saying.
The cost is high.
Wow.
There is frustration entering the market. How much does a coffee farmer earn per kg of coffee?
Kwanza coffee farmers really go through.
How much are they paid per kg? Is it 20 shillings?
I don't know.
I don't know
I'm not
how much
sure.
it is.
Tuambieni kwa comment.
But it could be between 20 and 50 bob. How much is a kg of coffee in the supermarket?
That's expensive.
My goodness. Coffee is over 1,000 bob. For half a kg. For 500 grams. So you go get these bottles are 500 grams. They're not even a kg. It's 1,000. It's 1,400. Can you imagine a person getting 50 shillings? Less than $1.
That's less. Oh God.
Less than $1. And we are growing it. And it goes out, gets processed, comes back, and sold to us exorbitantly.
Oh God. Exorbitantly. What?
Exorbitantly.
Hey, okay.
We as Africans need to grow up.
Yeah.
We have a long way to go.
We really do.
We are our own worst enemies.
Facts.
If we frustrate our own markets, we have to encourage it. We have to encourage our own markets. You know, we import, the even toothpicks we import from China.
Ati? Kichokono leo inatoka China.
Understand what is going on, you get mad. We are importing. We are behaving as though we are a very rich country.
But all of these things are imports.
We are poor. We are importing those things. If you import maize.
Waru ni kitu ya kuimport.
The wazungus come to this country and they praise how fertile, how green our country is. How productive agriculturally our country can be. But we cannot produce food that can sustain us.
We don't see it.
We have a problem. Be careful about the people you choose. Be careful about the people you choose.
I'm mad. I've heard of importing sugar, lakini mayai.
We shouldn't. Companies like from where I come from, Mumias.
Mumias sugar is the biggest company by this sionangi
Yes,
skari ya Mumias
it
siku
goes
hizi.
down, the government comes, revives it, it's looted to death.
By then nimekabila kuna skari ya Mumias.
In Western Kenya right now, I can say this because that's where I come from. Initially, we used to have a lot of sugarcane.
Yes.
A lot of
Sugarcane farming was very
Sugarcane farming was predominant
in the
Mumias.
Western, yeah.
My grandfather has acres and acres of land for
Sugarcane.
Yeah. Do you know, I go to Mumias and I almost see no sugarcane.
The land is bare.
Yes. Guys have switched. They're being paid peanuts to produce that crop. They're paid peanuts. Well, how much is sugar in the supermarket?
Kilo iko 100 na.
So
Actually,
there
it's
is
around
frustration
150.
in the local market in favor of the external market. Somebody goes to Brazil, Mexico, where we import maize from, by the way. Mexico.
Tungekuwa tuna import hizi zingine.
Somebody goes and strikes a deal there. And when they strike that deal, they get whatever kickbacks they would get and all those things. And then we import that. Our local maize farmers are suffering. They're suffering. Their cost of production is high. That's why maize prices go up. The cost of flour prices go up because of the cost of production.
That's just sad.
Yes.
That's just sad.
That's what high cost of living is.
That's
And it's bad, and it's a high time young people should be attentive. Young people, that's why we are even doing this podcast, should be attentive.
2027.
Attentive to matters of money, attentive to matters policy. We need to interrogate the people who are coming to power. What is it? Not being told ria and all those things, and then now somebody just needs, that's all they need to tell you, and then you
Niyo kura
we are usually treated like, I don't know, I don't want to be political because it pisses me off.
But you see how politics really affects
They
our
affect
cost
us.
of living.
They affect
And
us.
how the policies they set affects
us. Kabisa. We need to grow our own food. There is no way a country of 50 million people cannot grow its own food. A country that is 80% fertile. We have every crop. What don't we have in Kenya?
Hakuna.
Name anything that does not grow. Rice is in Mwea.
Mingi sana.
Maize is in Trans Nzoia.
Trans Nzoia, mingi sana.
Tea. We have tea in Central.
Limuru,
and coffee.
Coffee.
Kericho. We have all those things. We have potatoes.
Nyandarua.
We have name those things. It's just, and it's not easy. I can't say it is easy because you see, I don't see it in those seats. But at least, for heaven's sake, let's grow our own food.
Yeah, we should be able to. Tanzania does that.
Yes,
Tanzanians do
that. I'm looking forward to a time when we'll have a leader who will encourage people to go back to the farms.
We really thought that
yes.
The one in power right now will do that because he said he has a PhD in agriculture or something.
But our agricultural system sector is
it's dying. It's dying. I hope it is going to be revived.
Yeah.
Let's go to the effects of inflation. We've talked about the causes and all of that. The effects of inflation. Number one, high cost of borrowing.
High cost of borrowing. This affects businesses a lot. It affects businesses because of the interest rate.
You were giving a certain example.
Yes, because of the interest rate. And the interest rate is very high right now. Yeah, I think it's around 17 to 25%. No, the government, and you see...
17% interest.
I am not very sure about that rate. You can check. You can check the rate.
Okay.
But the interest rate, when the value of the Kenya shillings when the Kenya shilling is devalued, the borrowing, the interest you pay from borrowing is high. If you're doing business
on loans,
yes, it is interest on loans. Just check a few minutes.
You're not lying.
It's what
17%.
Yes, I read it somewhere. It was 17%. Now let me tell you, as when you're doing business, What business is this that you will do and pay an interest rate of 17% and still make a profit? Wachana na hizi watu wanakuambia ni God manze.
Sio watu wa kuget keep.
Ni God manze. Hakuna business. Ni God manze is another kind of business.
Thank God. Ni God.
So those guys who are doing businesses are suffering. Right now, if you go to the bank to ask for a loan, you will be in trouble. And let me tell you why.
17% is so high.
The government is the biggest borrower locally.
Yes, they say that.
Yes,
but
the government is the biggest borrower locally. It is borrowing from our banks. At a high interest rate. Imagine at an interest rate, let's say between 17 and 25%. If the bank can give the government loans at that interest, why would they want to give you? Who are you?
Who do you think
you are? If the government can give, if the banks can give the government at a higher interest rate, then they affect you. When you go to the bank, they don't care about you. They have they are almost guaranteed returns because the government will pay. Our debt, our internal debt percentage is at 51%. Local borrowing.
Hata tujaenda China.
Tujaenda bado local borrowing.
51%.
So 51%. So that means that there is no incentive by the banks. Business, there is no incentive by the banks to loan you money. So if the banks cannot loan you money, your business would grow. Because I told you that when you're doing business, you need loans
you do.
to grow, expand your business and all that. If you can't borrow, that means you're limited in what you can do. Therefore, we are stuck in a difficult problem. And I think economists and these people who are dealing with finance are saying that what Kibaki managed to do was to reduce local borrowing. There was a time when all you had to do was produce payslips, and you'll get whatever loan. Right now, do you see banks advertising? Just check your television. Do you see them advertising you to go for loans? Because the government is borrowing from them. Government is borrowing too much.
Wow.
Locally. So the banks, if they are to lend you money, they have to increase their interest rate so that they also counter inflation. And they wanatumia nani ku counter inflation? Wewe.
Ndio maana unachajiwa 17%.
Yes. So I saw my boss was telling me that in America the interest rate is 5%. Borrowing 5%. You imagine if a government would give you a loan of 1 million at an interest rate of 5%. What will you not do? That is why
5% unalipa 50,000.
Yes.
Extra interest. Saizi ina yetu 17 unalipa 170,000.
Yes. That's what
interest.
Yes, that's what you pay. So, if the government stops local borrowing, we are already in a hole anyway.
Yeah.
If they stop local borrowing, they will incentivize banks to lend to common mwananchi, wapenzi watazamaji.
Our fellow viewers.
Fellow Kenyans.
Yeah.
It will incentivize the banks to lend to you at a lower interest rate. You can be able to do business. You will employ people. You will have money in your pocket. You will not have anxieties. By the way, do you know? Just go and look at our newspapers.
Yeah.
Do you know there is where they're advertising auction cars, auctioneer sections? They are growing.
Really?
Yes. Banks chartering people.
Really?
It's growing. Because guys cannot pay. Guys cannot pay. By the way, those who have defaulted in loans and nini, don't think that you're alone. Don't kill yourself, Fati, because you are in debt. We are facing problems. Unakumbuka ule jamaa alisema I am in a lot of problems.
Pray for me. Nataka mniombe.
Because I'm in a lot of problems.
Na niza kujiletea.
Our problems ni sisi tulijiletea. We
Bado niko hapo kwa interest
we
rate.
elected people based on
The suits,
tribe and suit and
political
regions.
party.
We thought that my tribesman, now that your tribesman is in power, what are you eating? What is the benefit?
Unga tu bado ni ile bei
Yes.
sisi wote.
Whether you voted or not, you still remain in the same position. So be careful. Interrogate. Let politics here this time equate about policy. We have to understand this party. What do they stand for?
What do they lie?
We'll talk about the demand side economics and the supply side economics. We'll talk about those things and see their effect on us. But we have to interrogate what people stand for, because if we thought about the common mwananchi, we would not limit them by what we are doing.
Yeah.
What generally is happening is that businesses are being killed.
So
They're dying slow natural deaths. You this route within a 300-meter stretch. Go and check how many shops have closed. How many shops have closed?
biashara hakuna.
Yes. Hakuna biashara.
And they can't take a loan.
Yes. Now the government is increasing taxes. You're taxing people who don't have anything.
Shana assistant chief.
There is nothing to tax because guys are being laid off. The other time, I think it was Standard Media which laid off 300 employees were laid off. You see, those 300 people were taxpayers. You know, they were taxpayers. They were paying taxes. Is the government gaining or losing?
They've been laid off and they've not been paid months of salary.
So is the government gaining or losing?
It's losing.
It's losing. So we need to interrogate. Yes. So that is the higher cost of
Borrowing. Okay. Reduced purchasing power.
Reduction in the purchasing power. Because you see, if 1,000 shillings would get me 10 items.
Yes.
Right now, have you tried getting into a supermarket with 1,000 shillings? You don't even need those plastic.
You don't need it.
Unabeba tu hivi na mkono. 2 items, 2-3 items. But
Even
initially,
oh God.
kitambo, 1,000 shillings would get you a lot of stuff. So your purchasing power has gone down. You don't have that power to purchase anymore because of the subsequent increase in the prices. You enter a supermarket, you get depressed. You go to do shopping, you get depressed.
I remember when we were kids, during closing days, your mom could budget 500 shillings for snacks. And they'll get you crisps, biscuits, juice, zote.
Yes.
Na zitajaa mahali. Right now, yogurt, crisps and biscuits. And that's it. Nani, there's little amounts.
Yeah.
There's 550 grams.
And that's our greatest currency, 1,000 shilling note.
It's
devalued.
It's very...
the prices of commodities have gone up due to the factors that we've mentioned in a few minutes ago. And we are left to suffer.
And we need to buckle up because times will get tougher.
Yeah, it is not getting better.
It is not.
It's not getting better.
Compose yourself.
Our prayer.
I know it's getting hot. Compose yourself.
And read. It's getting tougher, but the only way is up. I appreciate sometimes rock bottom. We are in rock bottom
as a country.
Yes.
Yeah.
If we go any lower, is death. Any lower than where
Watumalize tu sasa.
Death. Good thing about rock bottom is the only way is up. The only way is up. We only need to tighten our belts, and it is possible.
We shall overcome.
I dread a scenario if we get to where Ghana is right now.
Okay. Yeah. Tell our viewers where
Ghana is
right
at
now.
bad state. They defaulted in majority of their loans.
International loans.
And you see, you have to pay those loans. And you are the sovereign. We the people. Yes. Power is with the people. And so in the event where the government defaults on those loans completely, where it's completely unable to pay the loans the way it normally pays. They defer that responsibility to you. Yes, we have been directly now.
We are
You see, we
paying
have been
loans,
paying
so
taxes
how what
indirectly.
more can I do?
Yes, now it comes to you. Like, for example, in Ghana, just give an example from figures I've made up. Let's say you had 1,000 shillings in your bank account. The government will come and take 300
Yende
without
lipe
your
loan.
consent.
Without my consent,
Yes, you don't
nitaona
have-
tu mwe,
You don't have to consent to pay that loan.
my
So,
money,
yes,
my hard-earned money.
you are the sovereign.
We are
You're the sovereign.
I will
Nah,
feel
you're the
the
one who
pinch
chose.
of it.
Yes, you have to bail your country out. Otherwise, who'll pay?
It's the government.
Who will pay? Right now, I know we are going off topic, but right now, during Kibaki's time,
Yeah, actually, that was another point, that increased debt servicing. Now let's discuss this one.
yes,
with Ghana.
increase debt servicing. The cost of repayment of debt goes high. During Kibaki's time, if I'm not wrong, for every 100 shillings that we were paying debt, 20 shillings was going to pay towards debt.
For every 100 bob.
Yes, 20 shillings. That means there was 70 shillings.
80 shillings.
80 shillings for development.
Yeah.
For
paying-
paying staff salaries and all those things. So the government, that's why guys said that during Kibaki's time we had a lot of
The
money.
economy flourished.
Right now we are deep in debt. For every 100 shilling, 80 shillings. 75 to 80 goes towards
Hiyo ni-
repayment of debt.
Any jokes?
Imagine, as a Christian, for every 100 bob you have, 80 is going to pay debt. You've not started paying your house rent. You've not done shopping. Now you're supposed, with 20 shillings left,
Hizo inafanya hizo zote.
inafaa ifanye hizo zote.
Juu 80 bob ishaenda kulipa wachinku.
Do you think we are in good shape?
We
economically?
are not.
We are not. We have to brace ourselves for tough times and ask the Lord, who owns cattle upon 1,000 hills, who silver and gold belongs to.
Yeah.
We have to ask him to have mercy on this country. And with the unemployment rate that we have, guys, things will get bad if we do not get ourselves out of this. And sadly, when we hear this, you hear we are losing money to corruption.
You know, that's even the
Corruption
worst
should be a
bit.
capital offense. Should be a
That's
capital
even
offense.
the worst bit. We really don't have money, and the little that we have, people are scrambling and
Corruption
stealing,
and murder should be on the same
buying
level.
big cars and saying thank God
Yeah. Corruption
and
and
destroying us.
corruption and murder should be the same level.
You really can't be stealing from the poor.
Yes.
Oh God.
Because the guys who are going to suffer every year, university chucks out 600,000 graduates. 60% of those graduates are not going to get employed.
Aye. And I think right now it's higher.
Yes. 6 out of every 10 people you meet will not get a formal employment. Why would kids not go to the streets?
And that's another effect of
Yes.
inflation.
Yes.
Social and political unrest.
Yes.
June 2024, where the youth made history.
Watu walianguka nayo.
Tulianguka nayo, tulienda tukasema reject. What were
Don't
you
amend,
saying?
reject.
Do not amend. We don't want amendments, reject. We saw that happening.
Yes, it happened. It's a consequence of
And
tough
it's
times.
shocking that it's not even only Kenya
Yes.
that went through that.
Yes,
Like
it's a consequence.
it's happening all over the world.
Yes.
So many countries are rejecting a lot of things.
Yes, and you see, it's an effect of
Inflation.
bad economic times. It leads to unrest because people now turn to looking at their leaders. You promised us.
Yeah, you said.
Like, for example, the mistake I think that the current government did, the greatest mistake was over-promising.
Hey, they did.
Yes. You'd rather under-promise and over-deliver
yeah.
rather than over-promise and
then
under-deliver.
And not
Because
even
you see,
deliver. They're not delivering.
if we are using 80 shillings out of every 100 to pay debt, that means you're going to have tough times.
Very
That means there's not going to be development.
There's no development.
Yes. So, the real thing is this. I think Sankara did this. yes, if I'm not wrong, I think there's a leader. Yeah, Sankara did this. The president needs to tell the people, we are in a tough situation. This is the current condition. Brace yourself for tougher times. And I know even if we have another president, we'll still face the same challenges.
And that's the thing.
Until the time that we will get out of the debt situation we have. What we need to do is to get that. You see, when you tell people the truth, and you tell them, yes, exactly where you are. One way of rehabilitating someone is acceptance.
Number one.
Yes, of being rehabilitated is acceptance. Let's accept that we are in an economic hole and we are continuing to dig. Let's make
we talked about digging.
Yes, hole. We are digging because if we are using 80% to pay debt, that means we need to borrow more.
And you're taking more.
That's why we are borrowing money to
pay things, consumer
recurrent,
debt.
Yes, recurrent expenditure.
Oh, God.
It has an effect. So I think our leaders should just come out clean and tell us we are in tough times. Overtaxing will not help.
It will. You're actually nikutumaliza.
I was reading somewhere that the government is collecting less. With the taxation. And I can tell you, I can tell you the effects. Like I said, the economic times have led to closing businesses. That is loss of jobs to people who pay taxes.
Yeah.
Isn't it, taxpayers?
Yes.
Will you collect more or less?
Less.
If you increase taxation on fuel and the fuel prices go up, I park my car. And I use a matatu. And I use a matatu.
Yeah.
So means you'll not sell more fuel, you'll sell less.
Yeah.
So overtaxing does not sort the problem. It is a band-aid. There is so much you can do in taxation. Itafika mahali you can't tax. Ni kama kutafuta damu kwa konokono. You see kutafuta damu kwa konokono. Konokono is a snail.
It's a snail. I've never heard of that.
It doesn't have blood.
It doesn't.
Yes.
They will have really milked everything.
Yes. A time is coming with the increase in taxation. A time is coming when you cannot tax anymore. That's why the finance bill was, it was going to it faced that rejection. And you see, for once, the whole country was united against the government. The entire country.
Ata 2025.
Have you ever seen young people protest like that?
The last time, I think, okay, hata zile zingine zilikuwa zina happen zilikuwa za one political side. Ndio maana people came together and said we are tribeless.
Yes.
We are leaderless because we are all against the same thing, the same demon.
And you see, eventually it catches up with you.
Finance bill.
It catches up with you eventually.
It really caused a lot of unrest.
Yes,
for sure.
It caused a lot of unrest.
For sure.
And guys they overthrew the parliament.
Hey, they banned
it. It was an indictment in the parliament.
They banned it.
Yes. Because now you can't tax anymore. What happens? And you see, we are approaching that situation where you can't tax anymore. Because if you tax, you cause political unrest. But you still have a debt obligation. Still have a debt you have to pay.
So now they tax that, and then now
ikiisha,
what
happens? I've tried to read about solutions to this. And for the government, they were saying that if I heard this from Wanjigi and Willis Otieno, the lawyer.
Yes.
They are in Safina Party. I heard it from them. And they were saying that if the government, one way is to expand. You see what Kibaki did was to encourage the private sector to drive projects rather than the government itself. Like, for example, if you remove the restrictions, the taxation, you know companies like GlaxoSmithKline left Kenya.
Medicine. They did.
Yes. Companies have left.
Yeah, a lot of companies are actually exiting
because of
country taxation.
The taxation is too much. They prefer to go to TZ or UG where taxes are a bit lower. So what you do, if you encourage the private sector, I'm not an expert in this, but this makes sense. If you encourage the private sector, I do business. If you encourage me as a businessman to get access to loans by not borrowing locally. You You see, by not borrowing locally, you make the
Banks.
banks want to lend out money.
Yeah,
Watakuja wakuite, kujia pesa. Go start your own business. You will start businesses. You will employ people.
Yeah.
You will, there will be money. People will have money. They'll be able to pay taxes.
Taxes will be
Taxes will be a bit affordable. But we are in a hole. On one side, you should understand that we are in a hole. The thing that we need to interrogate is, when did we start digging? Who took our money?
Where did our money
Where
go?
did the money go? Those are
Who
the
did
things,
not budget?
those are the things we need to ask if we are
Yeah.
to sort out the problem that we have.
The
in this
financial
country.
problem we have.
Yes, those guys who are economists can tell me if I'm
Able
wrong.
tell us.
Yeah,
And then come to our podcast and let's discuss
Yes.
the economic state of the country, because
Yes.
we are in a hole. And we are in a very bad hole. Another effect of inflation is impacts on fixed income.
Impact on fixed income is as simple as, let's say you earn 20,000 shillings. At that time, you were buying sugar at 100. You could afford a decent living
Yeah.
with shopping of 5,000. Now inflation has hit, as there is increase in inflation, but you still earn the same 20,000. Your taxes, shisha and all those things, and hashif
And the assistantship.
have been deducted from your salary.
Yeah.
That means you get less money
Yes.
as net income. So when you get a less net and you go to the supermarket, things have gone high. So you actually stayed in the same level while things are getting tougher. So you have no money.
Feel the pinch.
Yes. You cannot, when you go to your employer and tell him or her to increase your salary, they can't, because they're overtaxed.
They're also
well.
feeling it.
Yes, they're feeling it. Their natural course of action is retrenching people, laying off.
And that has happened.
I'm telling you,
about standard
we
made,
need
yeah.
to be interested in our economy. We need to be interested in the country as young people. Gone are those days, nonsense trending. Ati mapangale. Those things, we should laugh at those things and leave them as
is.
Let's interrogate our economy. I like the way during the finance bill, guys went on TikTok to chambua.
We read
Guys
that
read.
thing.
And
Mita
Kenyans are very
sijaijua
educated.
finance bill. Najuanga
Yes.
tu kulikuanga na suitcase fulani na present yangwa inakuanga imechorwa hapo the coat of arms, and that's it. Like I was never interested, but during the finance bill 2024,
Yeah.
I had to enter, even if I didn't read all of them, I got a summary of at least all the bills that were being introduced, because a lot of things go into that thing.
Yeah.
And they in turn affect.
Get interested in those matters, because you will also see. It will also help you to know the leaders you'll choose. Don't say, there are people who say, I didn't have an option. Don't lack an option.
But
Go and interrogate people's policies. Look at what do these people stand for. We have MPs who embarrass themselves on TV. When somebody looks at a whole protest and says that it was Photoshop and claims to be an expert.
alisema yeye ni expert. Alisema
You see, those are the kind of people we are
watu ya
putting to
social
represent
media.
a person who is in denial. You see, I said the first remedy or the first road or path to remedy is acceptance. Accept we are in a mess.
Yeah.
And this mess, we brought it upon ourselves. Now, let's go interrogate the root cause of the mess. Who messed us? Let them pay.
The leaders, yeah.
Who stole? Let them return whatever they have stolen. And then let's remedy the situation. Otherwise, we will continue being hopeful, but things will never be good. Yes.
It's good that you talked about remedies, because now we're going to talk about how to cope during inflation. I know someone is thinking, oh my God, but now the economy is so bad. How am I supposed to be prepared for this? I don't know when the economy, I don't know when the prices of things are going to increase. I don't know when this is going to happen. But we do have a bit of solution to how we can cope with the inflation, right? And one of them is budgeting. I think we've talked about budgeting.
Yes.
One too many times, but we will not tire to tell you how to budget.
One is budgeting, and we said that a budget is you telling your money
where
it should go, rather than wondering
where it
went. And we also did a whole episode on where did my money go. So when you budget, and it's one thing to budget and another one to stick
to your budget.
budget.
By the way, ndio inakuanga shida.
Yes, budgeting is not a problem.
It's not. You
Writing
write it
down on a piece of paper and that nice notebook.
It's really easy.
You can even draw some flowers, candle apple, do some calligraphy.
Sticking to it is the issue.
Sticking to the budget.
That's discipline.
That is discipline. And let me tell you, discipline starts in the mind. The mind must win. If the mind does not win the war, the body will not follow. The mind is you telling yourself, from today, I am going to be interested in matters finance.
Yeah.
Beginning with myself, I'm going to be interested in personal finance. If I am interested in personal finance, I will know where my money goes, how I deal with my money, what I do with it. Just being conscious. There are people, at some point, I never even knew how much I'm making.
You didn't?
Many people don't know how much they make. Ask random guys how much they make. Rather than the salary. If they have side hustles and all.
They don't know how much money comes in.
Yes. And so,
inaingia
tu hivyo, itatoka tu
in
that way. But if you have a budget and you stick to it, and one way of sticking to a budget is making it as simple as possible.
Yes.
Start there.
Yes.
Don't overcomplicate. Pi is equals to PR squared and all those things. Don't start with those pie charts.
No.
Just start with how much money comes in. What do I spend on rent? We said you are safer if you pay a third of your income.
Or less.
A third or less.
A third is allowed.
Yes.
A third is allowed. Or less is your personal
less is
choice.
super.
Yes.
So if you do that, let's say you're earning 20,000 net. Let's do the math with 10,000 net. 30% of that, or a third, is 3K. If you know that is the amount you earn, start looking for a 3K shilling house.
Niko about kuuliza nyumba za 3,000 ziko wapi?
Yes. You see?
Utazijua.
Utazitafuta. Live below your means. The people you're trying to impress don't care.
We really don't.
Nobody cares about how much money you have. Nobody even knows. I can stand here and tell you I'm a billionaire. How many self-proclaimed billionaires do we have? Unajua maybe akikutwa na KRA anasemanga tu hii ni content.
Si kuna mmoja
amekutwa kashikwa.
Kuna mmoja ameshikwa juzi. Flamboyant businessman.
Don't. I told you, money hates that behavior. Opulence. Extravagance. You don't see it with the people with real money. You don't see it. So, make that conscious decision to budget. Start with the very basic things. You can start a budget of the very basic necessities and pay them, knock off. The other thing which I'm currently working on is killing my debt, reducing my debt. I went and I did a math of how much debt.
You followed instructions?
Yes, I followed my own instructions. And I was depressed.
Oh.
I'm in a lot of debt.
Yeah, I'm going through a lot of problems.
I'm in a lot of debt. So, there is the debt avalanche and the debt snowball.
Yeah.
I have started knocking off my debts. Pole pole. Kai mshwari hapa na pale. I knock it off. I reduce my limit to 0. I do this, Fuliza, all those things. Knock off those debts. If you're in business, just only go to debt for development. Don't go to debt to start.
Wachama.
Yes. But there are people who take a loan, which I preach against, to start a business, and they succeed. But
how many? How many successful stories do we have?
Don't. If you are taking a loan, don't take it to start a business. Yeah.
Take it to grow it.
With this economy, don't.
Utailipa na machozi. Utailipa na machozi. Invest in inflation resistant assets.
Yes.
I think this one is very important because we are about to learn a lot.
Since inflation is the weakening of your currency and the subsequent or consequent increase in price of commodities,
yes,
there are items let me call them items for lack of a better way to put it, that are sort of inflation resistant. These are those items that increase in value over time. Land has been one item that has been well known to increase in value over time, and land has gone up. The prices of houses are high, especially purchasing those houses. So investing in something like real estate makes good sense, because if you go and build your house somewhere, oko Kamulu Joska in the middle of nowhere, it is, and sell the house. When you sell the house, you can sell it at a good margin. I saw the margins. When I grow up, one day I want to be in real estate. Because I've seen there's good money. I know it's difficult. It's not easy.
Real estate is very expensive.
Yes, it's very expensive
to invest in.
But it is almost inflation resistant. It is almost inflation resistant.
Is there any, kuna venye land inaweza depreciate in value?
It's difficult to say, but yes, kuna zingine politics, uncertainty, those ones would lead to land depreciating in value. Like for example, you remember the time when there was a flood?
Yes.
The affluent estates that we have were flooded.
Yes.
How many people do you think want to buy those pieces of land
Very few.
at a premium?
At a premium? I don't know.
They won't.
They
like
won't.
For example,
it's very few.
If you bought a house at 20 million, no, let me talk about the ones that is going to cost 100, 200 million. You bought a house at 200 million Kenya shillings. Then it flooded and your house was almost about
3/4 ni roof tu inaonekana.
How much do you think you can sell that house? After
less.
All is said and done.
Very less.
Yes, because you see, factors like those would devalue that real estate. So there are things that would devalue your real estate. But it is one of the many people in finance and economics are saying that that's one area that is good to invest in.
It is in almost inflation resistant.
Yeah. Another one I know by Kiyosaki, Robert. I quote him a lot.
Yeah,
right?
you do.
Yes, because he teaches those things at schools.
He's a wise man when it comes to money.
In the Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he actually tells us exactly what schools teach versus what they don't teach. That is the rich dad and the poor dad. The rich dad is the guy who had not much education and all that, and he understood business and money. The poor dad was very highly educated and believed in school and all that. School is good, but it doesn't teach majority of the things.
These things are just...
Yes. So he talks about gold, putting your money in things like gold.
Investing in gold.
Yes. But you see, those are they require a lot of money.
Yeah.
But those are inflation resistant items. You can invest in those things.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
Another thing I think you can invest in, which is very promising, and it's a good time to invest, is when times are bad like this. Imagine if you pray and we pray and God answers our prayer, that things get better. Let's call this company, let's call it...
Unajua tu podcast tunaambiaga tunakuangania hizi vitu. Let's call it CAP.
So CAP as a company, its shares right now, let's say it's at 16 shillings per share. 2 or 3 years ago, I'm talking about an actual company, its shares was at 35 shillings. So it's gone down to 16.
Half.
Yes. Do you know it's the best time to buy those shares?
Wow. When it's at 16 shillings.
Yes, when there is a hope. Kuna uncertainties. That's where the risk is.
Yes.
But imagine a scenario where you have bought worth 16 shillings and then it rises to 35, or our economy becomes better, grows better. Like I've said, one good thing about rock bottom is that the only way is up.
Yeah.
So in the event
that
the economy rises,
get better.
Yes, then you have...
Wait.
So sometimes things like shares, I think it's a good time to invest in them.
Okay.
The money market The rate is high. I have not seen it this high. 14 kuna
Ko 14.
Yes,
Kuna wenye
companies-
wamefika 18 sahi.
yes. Hey, but those ones me naogopa.
Hata mimi naogopanga. I also see people joining these money markets with very high interest rates. I'm like, okay, you have fun. Let me stay at mine where I know our interest rates at 13, 12.
Look at the companies that are trusted.
Yeah.
Don't invest and then
When the deal is too good,
Yes.
you think twice. Think thrice actually.
So you can invest in those things. It's the money market fund is a little bit high, and it's the lowest risk in terms of that.
Yeah, actually it is a low risk.
It's a low risk, so you can invest in that. You can put your money there. 14% growth is not bad.
It's not
bad at all.
It's really not.
I remember when I joined, it was at 10%.
Hey.
10, 11, yeah.
Right now it's at 14. That's good.
14, that's good, yes.
That's
So you see your money growing.
Yeah, that's growth. And actually you've touched a little bit on the next point, which is building an emergency fund.
Yes, building an emergency fund. We say an emergency fund is 6 times your expenses per month.
Okay, for fun.
You have to save at least money that would cushion you for 6 months.
Okay, in case the job is lost.
In case you lose your job.
It's an emergency.
Yes.
Okay.
Your emergency fund should be able to take care of that.
For 6 months.
Yes, imagine.
Same lifestyle, everything.
If your expenditure per month is 100,000, you need to have 600,000 as emergency.
Or more.
Yeah, or more.
Yeah.
Invest in saving. Save. But saving does not end there. I am a guy who discourages just save. The people, and I know banks are not going to like this.
Yeah.
It's not enough to save
Yeah.
or to put money. You see, when you have liquid cash, what happens to it to inflation? We're just talking about inflation.
Inaenda tu
It
ikididimia.
devalues. Yes, it devalues your
Devalues
money.
the word.
Save, invest. For emergency fund, yes, you can put it in a money market and leave it there.
Yeah.
And don't touch it.
Yes.
And let the forces of compounding interest. It is called the power of compounding. The
It's
magic of
increasing in
compounding.
value.
You let it work. But then again, when you increasingly save, and let's say you've gotten to 1 million, 2 million, don't leave that money there. Invest it somewhere else. Do business. Take the risk. Do business. Buy shares. Buy government bonds. Buy the treasury bills. We'll talk about all those things.
We need to.
We'll talk about them.
We really need to.
The how to now. We'll talk about them.
Yeah.
But yes, with that, you can, to some extent, cushion yourself from these tough times.
Okay.
But most importantly, it's God.
Ni good.
Ni
Feel like
God
it's
manze,
ni
because
good.
you can do all these things na uku eroded. Wealth, funny bit about wealth, it can disappear
It disappears.
in a snap of a
We've heard of people come from grass to grace, and then now this from grace
to grass.
to grass.
It is very painful. So you trust God. Don't put your trust in your kuna verse in Psalms inasemanga, some trust in horses, others in chariots, but we trust in the name of the Lord.
True.
So don't trust so much in the things that you do. Do them anyway. That's not an excuse to also be a Christian who does not plan. Do them, but trust in God more.
Yeah.
God anakuanga faithful sana, design whatever you sow, you reap. Yes.
Awesome. It's interesting. Kuna quote niliona mahali, and it really resonated with our previous episode, scarcity and abundance mindset. Let me get it. I actually even posted it on my status. It says, and it's from Jeff Bezos. It says, the rich get richer while the poor think opportunity is a scam.
The rich get richer
While the poor
while
think
the poor
every opportunity is a
is a
scam.
scam.
That's by Jeff Bezos.
Yes.
That's by Jeff Bezos. So
I read in some book that if today you were to give the entire world, everyone, the same amount of money, everybody, in 10 years, those who are rich will be rich. Those who are poor
will remain
will
poor.
be poor. Because money is not the amount you have, it's the mindset. Psychology of money. It's the mindset. What is your mindset with regards to money? Are you a consumer? You know, majority of us are consumers.
Yeah.
We love consuming. Like money in your pocket means buying stuff.
Yeah.
What if we changed our mindset to money in my pocket means investing, means growing it, so that when it comes to your pocket, you don't think about spending it. You think about growing it. Imagine if that was the mindset of everyone. Even if we borrow as a country, imagine if our mindset was, now that we have borrowed 20 billion,
How do we grow it?
how do we grow it to 40? How do we make it 40? The guys who occupy these offices, some of them, when they see that 20 billion, wanakula ka 5 hapo kwanza, wanakagonga ka 5.
Yeah,
wanakaeka
definitely.
Alafu wanafanya na 15. Na uliona Kena did a skit on how money, and that's why we don't have development down there.
True.
We are people who want to eat.
Oh yeah, I remember that skit.
Yes.
I remember that
You
skit.
remember that
I
skit?
remember that skit.
It has 1 point something million views, by the
Because
way.
it's true.
Yes, it's very true. So we have to change our mindset from a mindset of eating to a mindset of growing. The parable of the sower, no, the talents, to a mindset of growing. We must ask ourselves, whenever you get 100 shillings, I've started asking myself this: how can I make it 200? What do I need to do to make it 200? How can what problem exists that I can solve that can make this money 200? And you will find that God has given us. Kenyans are brilliant people. Kenyans excel in business a lot when they go out. You go to these other countries in East Africa, they don't like Kenyans. They know how aggressive Kenyans
Very
are.
smart.
Kenyans are smart and aggressive. So we are not poor because of foolishness. We have just put the wrong people in office. We just put the wrong people. We need to do something about how we relate to money.
Yeah.
Yes, who we elect is important.
2027. Let's do better.
Let's think now, policy-wise, economic-wise. Tuachane na tribe. Your tribe will never help you.
Nothing.
There is no one who has ever gotten help because of their tribe. And even if they did,
And
it's short-lived.
yeah.
It is short-lived.
Yeah.
But if you give people, sometimes, do you sit down and listen to our politicians and you get angry?
You get not once. I actually can't listen to parliamentary sittings.
And you see,
I cannot.
some of these people have serious papers.
I cannot.
They are educated.
Are they real or they are
No,
not?
some of them
They are really educated.
They are schooled. They have been taught to be employees. No, they've gone have those degrees, but the only thing they know is how to be an employee.
Yeah.
So they cannot grow the economy.
They can't.
They can't grow. They only know how to be an employee. They only know how to play politics. Some of them don't. If you ask them, I remember there was a debate about taxation. There was a politician who was on TV, and they did not understand what. At least I don't understand as much. At least I accept that the little knowledge I know, I can be able to apply it.
Yeah.
But this guy could not really explain taxation.
At all.
Yes.
And he's the one who is supposed to
The legislature.
make these things into bills.
Yes. And he cannot understand. May God help us.
May God help us.
We are in a lot of problems.
We are na ni sisi tulijiletea.
Na ni sisi tulijiletea.
Because who else aliamka 5 am kwenda kupigia watu kura?
Yeah.
Ni sisi tu. But anyway, I think our audience now has an idea. I think you have an idea and you've learned a little bit or a lot from inflation or about inflation and how to manage it. This thing is here with us. It is going to get better or worse. We don't know. Probably worse because miaka zinasonga. So I don't think inflation itairudi chini. But now you have an idea and how to cope when things get tough. Okay, number 1 is trust God. Number 2 is listen to Redpill. Listen to Redpill, especially episode 5. So thank you if you've sat down and listened to us until this point. Thank you. So let's meet on episode 6 where we'll discuss something else very interesting about money. So stay safe. Continue trusting in God even through these tough economic times. And I know He's going to help us, right? Stay safe. Be blessed, and God loves you. Bye-bye.
Peace.
Peace.